Good evening. You're now with me, Andy Gui, for TVS Nightline. Onto the headlining stories. Sarawak is considering the utilization of CUBESAT, a type of nanosatellites that can be used to elevate land administration and develop new economic plans for the state. Premier Datuk Tinggi Tan Sri Rahman Johari Tunopeng says current technology enables the production of these satellites at a much lower cost as compared to conventional satellites. Typically, conventional satellites would cost between 1.42 billion ringgit to 2.36 billion ringgit, while nanosatellites like CUBESAT would cost between 2.33 million ringgit to 3.27 million ringgit.
Saya berusaha dalam 5 tahun ini untuk kita menghasilkan apa disebut sebagai CUBESAT, nano satellite. Dan kalau hasil kita bertambah, kita boleh mengeluarkan nano satellite ke low orbit kita. Jadi ini dapat membantu survey. Kerana survey di tanah, di bumi, boleh disimpan dalam data di low orbit dan digunakan untuk kita membuat planning dalam pembangunan ekonomi.
The CUBESAT Abang Johari adds will be integrated with the use of AI, large-scale data analytics and geographic information systems (GIS) to enable planning decisions to be made in a more precise, rapid and evidence-based manner. At the same time, such technology will also enable Sarawak to develop climate-resilient land use planning, a matter made as priority by the state government to ensure developments are carried out sustainably without compromising the well-being of the people and the environment. These include occurrence of floods, landslides, coastal erosion, as well as increasingly unpredictable weather patterns.
Dalam konteks ini, perancangan guna tanah yang sistematik, bersepadu dan berpaksikan kelestarian amat penting. Kita tidak boleh membangunkan bandar tanpa mengambil kira aspek kesejahteraan rakyat, keselamatan, kesedesaan dan kelestarian alam sekitar. Bandar pintar hanya boleh diwujudkan melalui pengurusan tanah yang bijaksana dan berpandangan jauh.
The Sarawak government allocates 1.05 billion ringgit to the Ministry of Utilities and Telecommunications (MUT) under the Alternative Funding and 13 MP for 2026 to implement various projects and programs in the utilities and telecommunications sector. Its Minister, Sri Julaihi Norawi, states that this substantial allocation reflects the state's continuous commitment to strengthening infrastructure for the well-being of its people and supporting the state's economic development.
Kerajaan Sarawak telah meluluskan peruntukan sebanyak ringgit Malaysia 810.6 juta 810.6 million bagi melaksanakan projek bekalan air di bawah Alternative Funding dan rancangan ke-13 pada tahun 2026, iaitu pada tahun ini. Kita juga sedang memasang pipe di seluruh Sarawak untuk memastikan bahawa sistem grid air kita dapat dilaksanakan di seluruh Sarawak berdasarkan wilayah. Wilayah selatan, wilayah tengah dan wilayah utara. Dan sesungguhnya inilah matlamat kita supaya bekalan air yang dihasilkan daripada production water treatment plant yang baru dan water treatment plant yang sedia ada yang sedang dinaik taraf dapat membekalkan volume water yang mencukupi untuk keperluan para penduduk di seluruh Sarawak.
Additionally, Julaihi says 199 million ringgit has been approved for the electricity supply sector to implement related projects. The minister also highlights that 77 key programs are outlined in the 2026 annual plan with a focus on improving utilities and telecommunications infrastructure across Sarawak, as well as supporting economic growth and the state's digital transformation.
Now, the government has agreed to provide transfer and relocation allowances to contract doctors who were offered permanent appointments under the Health Ministry in 2025. Health Minister Dr. Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad says the one-off provision allows eligible officers to claim meal allowances, hotel accommodation or lodging allowances, travel expenses, transportation of personal effects, transfer grants and miscellaneous expenses. He says claims of up to 100% are allowed for inter-regional transfers between Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah, Sarawak or Labuan and vice versa.
Ya, diharapkan dengan pemberian allowance ini dapat membantu sikit sebanyak pegawai-pegawai perubatan untuk berpindah dan menyesuaikan diri di tempat yang baru.
On a different note, Zulkifli denies claims that the ministry had reduced the regional incentive payment BIW following the implementation of the Public Service Remuneration System SSPA for federal civil servants. He says there has never been any reduction or cuts in allowances, including regional incentives. Instead, under the SSPA, the government agrees to set a fixed rate for existing recipients and a new fixed rate for newly eligible officers. Meanwhile, for existing recipients, the fixed rate is based on the final BIW amount received before the SSPA came into effect, while newly appointed or newly eligible officers will receive a new fixed rate ranging from 270 ringgit to 960 ringgit per month. Investment banks have remained positive on Malaysia's manufacturing sector outlook in 2026, citing resilient domestic demand, reduced tariff uncertainty and steady investment activity as key factors supporting growth. RHB Investment Bank Berhad, or RHBIB, says its 2026 Industrial Production Index IPI projection stands at 4.1%, compared with 3.6% in 2025. In a statement, it says the robustness of recent IPI data, together with robust export performance and Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index PMI readings, reinforces the company's optimistic outlook. At the same time, manufacturing activity is expected to be driven by resilience in external demand amid a favorable regional economic outlook and easing tariff risks, continued strength in domestic private consumption and business activity, alongside supportive government policies. RHBIB also says its robust domestic demand is expected to continue supporting industrial activity in 2026, underpinned by steady private consumption and investment. It predicts resilient household spending driven by sustained income growth and confidence in the labour market. In terms of support from the government, policies promoting local production and the development of small and medium enterprises are also expected to strengthen domestic supply chains and stimulate economic activity. Additionally, targeted incentives will support high-impact sectors such as pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, AI, digital technology, and sustainability. A favorable environment in 2026 is likely to bolster export-oriented industries' performance, particularly in key sectors such as electrical and electronics E&E, machinery and commodities, as stronger regional demand sustains trade momentum and supports the country's diversified export base. Now, frozen food will be included in the list of items that can be purchased by using the Sumbangan Asas Rama or SARA by the end of this year. This expansion will effectively involve more than 10,000 grocery stores nationwide. Prime Minister Dr. Anwar Ibrahim says this measure is undertaken to also reduce the service radius of grocery stores to 7-kilometer radius compared to 10 kilometers previously, allowing better accessibility to the public.
Bayangkan 22 juta rakyat dah dapat buat kali kedua SARA untuk semua. Ya, jumlahnya kecil tapi nak santuni semua. Berapa kesan dia keseluruhannya? SARA dengan STR 15 bilion ringgit. Ya, dia bukan kecil. Tapi nak meringankan sebab apa? Kita tahu Pusat bulan lepas, Raya Cina nak datang, kemudian puasa bulan Ramadan.
During a session with the Ministry of National Unity, Anwar stresses that the construction of worship houses that do not adhere to the law will be prohibited. He explains that a decision regarding the matter has been made and local authorities have now been empowered to take action, including vacating the affected areas. Meanwhile, Anwar commends both Sabah and Sarawak for showing great tolerance and is exemplary for other states in Malaysia. This, he says, does not come solely from the empathy practiced by the general public, but also the show of leadership shown by both the Chief Minister of Sabah and the Premier of Sarawak.
Di mutakhir ini ada pandangan tentang di wilayah persekutuan dan terutama di negeri Selangor dan negeri-negeri lain di Semenanjung terutamanya, walaupun umumnya ya Harun ya, di Sabah Sarawak itu dari segi perseteruan kaum itu lebih terkawal.
Now, China has rejected claims from the United States that it had conducted covert nuclear explosive tests, describing the accusation as false and accusing Washington of fabricating reasons to resume its own nuclear tests. At the UN conference on disarmament in Geneva on Friday, Thomas DiNanno, the U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Arms Control, accused China of conducting nuclear tests, including one on June 22, 2020, and preparing for future tests with significantly higher yields. In response, China's Minister of Foreign Affairs dismissed the allegations as groundless and labeled them as outright lies.
The ministry further criticized the U.S. for attempting to justify a return to its own nuclear testing activities. China also called on the U.S. to cease its irresponsible actions immediately. In October, U.S. President Donald Trump indicated that the U.S. might resume nuclear testing on an equal basis with Russia and China, though he did not provide specific details about the type of nuclear testing the U.S. intended to restart. DiNanno's remarks came as he introduced a new U.S. proposal for trilateral talks with Russia and China aimed at setting new nuclear weapons limits following the expiration of the New START Treaty, the last agreement between the U.S. and Russia on nuclear arms, on Thursday. Meanwhile, China has already stated it will not engage in disarmament talks at this stage.
Get all the updates you need all in one app. TVS Inspire brings you live updates on events, news and programs, available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. TVS Inspire World on your screen, anytime, anywhere. And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Hanigui. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.